Hello everyone. Our guest today is Prachiti Talathi, a law graduate, a management postgraduate, turned translator, blogger, editor, and book reviewer. Let's have a word with her to know her journey. Good morning, Prachiti. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Lalita. Thank you.
I look forward to a wonderful conversation with you.
Same here.
So, you were born and brought up in Chiplun. You said you were surrounded by literature lovers and language experts. So, can you tell us more about it?
Absolutely. It's like going back to my childhood once again, and I have stories to tell about it. So, I did my education till 12th in Chiplun. My family is based in Chiplun, and my father has a business there. So, it was not I'll not say that somebody has like gave me a book and asked me to start read. Like, okay, this is a book, go and read about it. No, it just automatically happened. I don't even know how it started. But in school, I was fortunate enough that I had a writer as my teacher. So he wrote many books for children. His name is Shrikant Govande. So he was my Sanskrit teacher. So, when we were in school, we were not aware about that aura behind his name. And I regret about it now because now he still writes, but not as, as he was active in that age. Then I had another very close family friend. She was like a grandmother to me. So she encouraged me to read. And she always said that, reading enhances your horizon. And my grandfather had inculcated a habit of reading English newspapers. But initially, when I was young and couldn't comprehend the small font, he asked me to read the big type font from Times of India. And my father was a big fan. He still loves to read Reader's Digest.
Okay.
So that was my only interaction to English. I was reading all Marathi books till then. And the library is just next door for my from the house. So, but before even I started, I took the membership of the library. My father had one condition. If I love to read, so what he did is during summer, because we have an ice cream and ice factory business. So obviously summer is a peak time and we couldn't travel anywhere else because it's a business time and have no friends around because most of them will go to some other place or some other relative's place or, to their grandparents' house. So he encouraged us that you have to come in the morning for 2 hours or 3 hours. You do some miscellaneous jobs and I'll pay you 1 rupee a day.
Okay.
So that was my first, income.
Interesting. Yeah.
So he used to give me 1 rupee a day and we were free to spend it or to save it. So I used to go to the bookstore, which was just like a couple of shops down from my home. And I used to go through books. Now it will sound funny that the books that time were like for 25 paisa, you will get a book. For 20 paisa, you will get a book. Now nobody believes that. Like 25 paisa, hardly you see in the market. So I used to calculate because 25 paisa book will have like very few pages, like 10, 15 pages max, and it will be a big typeset.
Correct.
50 paisa will be little bigger and little smaller typeset. So I used to calculate that how many books can I buy? And I used to buy books. So that's how I spent that money which he gave me. And indirectly now when I think about it, I realized that he tried to inculcate a habit that when you have expenses, you need to earn first. It's not that your parents will give you money and you will spend it.
Okay.
So it was a simple deal. The day I'll not go and work with him, I'll not get my 1 rupee.
Right.
Fair deal. So that was my first salary or my first income and I still cherish that. And later on, I started a library membership. So once the library membership started, the library had rule specifically for kids that you cannot come and exchange twice in a day.
Okay.
So it's only one exchange per day. So whatever is your library membership allows you, you can take that many books, but you can just come and exchange them once in a day. And I was a fast reader. So I used to finish those books in one day. So I'll go exchange the book in the morning and again I'll go in the evening. And many a times it had happened that they're like, no, we cannot. Like, it's a rule of the library and every day cannot be an exception. So then I used to sit there and read. And never, it's been a passion to read.
Great.
Nobody encouraged or forced upon me, but it just happened.
Great. So it has been your passion from an early age.
Absolutely.
Yes. And what did you read? Like which languages or what kind of genres or stories?
Basically, at that age, I was definitely not aware about genres. For sure. Genre has been literally like when I started at the age of 16, 17, like at the teenage, I realized that there are different genres to the literature.
Okay.
Till that time, anything and everything, but I was mainly reading in Marathi. And English reading was only limited to the Reader's Digest.
Okay.
They have like I was not able to read the entire big articles till I started properly reading English from in the school, and when I reached to like 8th or 9th standard. But I used to read. They had one-liner jokes, so I used to read that.
Yes, they were very popular. I remember.
I absolutely love them, and I'm still thinking about. Now they have online subscription as well, but the physical has its own charm.
Yes.
So I used to read that. Then I read all sorts of fairy tales. Like I read Greek fairy tales. I still remember a book which was gifted to me, and it was about a Russian fairy tale. So it had got seven stories. A very well hand illustrated book. Yes. Like the hand illustrations were then printed. It had glossy paper, and I still remember those illustrations and those stories. They had 7 stories, and I exactly I'm looking for that book, but now it is not available in Marathi because after I left for my college, and after my mother realized that there are 3 suitcases of these kids' books. What she's like, okay, let's give it to the library at least, or some children who can, read them. So
read them, yeah.
He gave away that book, and there was another one, Greek, about Greek mythology. So it had a story of Medusa in it. It had a story of a couple of other Greek gods, and it was connected to the stars formations. So I still remember these particular 2 books from my childhood. And there is one more I would like to quote. It was about a soldier from the World War. It's absolutely a fiction. And I think the author is Boris Polovoy. Now, just last year, I got the English book of it, but it was translated into Marathi. And that's probably the first, these are all the translated books which I read. And I enjoyed reading that. That story was so inspiring, and I still can remember the story and can connect to it. So that's how I started. That's what I was reading.
That's wonderful. Fairy tales are always good beginnings, I think.
They kind of develop your imagination.
Yes.
There's no scope to it.
Right.
And at that age, you believe in them.
Yes. We still do, I think.
I think so.
So which career did you pursue after your school and college?
So after I did my 12th in Chiplun, after that I went to ILS Law College in Pune. I did my LLB there. So it was after 12th for 5 years. And after that, I started practicing. So along with my LLB, I did a couple of other diplomas, like diploma in patent, in cyber law.
Okay.
So I did those diplomas along with that. Then I was working in Pune. I was working with one of the builders as an in-house consultant. So land acquisition was my expertise. So I was basically focusing on those deals and getting those signed by farmers and looking into the title clearance and everything.
Okay. So this is totally different from your passion, right?
Absolutely.
So then how
Absolutely.
did you enter this literature circuit?
So what has happened is, I must tell you, when I started doing my LLB, that was the first time at the age of 16 I read my first English book.
Okay.
Till that
And
time,
that,
and that book, because, and they were actually, I wouldn't have gone that path if I wouldn't have had friends from different parts of India.
okay.
So they were mainly reading all English books and they were talking about them, and I felt left alone. I realized that I don't know anything about it. So I decided to read. So first there were a couple of books my hostel friends were reading. So I flipped through them and it didn't develop me a taste.
Okay.
So I decided, okay, I'll take, because I was starting reading in English at the age of 16. I was a slow reader. So I decided I'll take a book which is simple and which interests my taste. So I went to Deccan. It's an area in Pune, and they had, on the road they sell these pirated copies. Being in the hostel, and that time the awareness was not there that it's a pirated copy. Yeah, you get the books and you go and buy them. So the first book which I picked up was Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
The reason I picked that up was to improve my soft skills. Because when I flipped through it, I realized that there's so much that I can learn and improve. So I still have that copy back home in India, and it still has a scribble of simple meanings written in the book itself. So after I completed my LLB in 2004, I got married. I moved to Dubai in 2007. And that time I realized with only degree from Indian university or Indian law college will not help me to sustain here.
Okay.
So I decided to shift to MBA. I decided to do MBA. So I went back to India and I did my MBA in HR. After I came back here in 2010, I then started working as a management consultant.
Okay.
I worked there for 2 years, and business setup consultancy I was taking care of. It was my expertise.
Okay.
I worked for 2 years, and all of a sudden something has happened, and which made me realize that this is not the life I want to lead. I didn't know what I want to do, but I was quite sure that I never wanted to work for 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and just slog and has no time. So I decided to take a break. In 2012, I quit that job. And I was like, it was at the end of 2012, like it was somewhere in November or December. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. As it is, the market is slow because it's a new year. Everybody is, taking it slowly. I will wait till January and I'll see what I want to do. I'll start applying jobs then. So I got time to read. And it was a coincidence that I came across an advertisement that Emirates Airline Festival of Literature, which happens in Dubai, is looking for volunteers.
Okay.
I was like, seems interesting. Like I had been to Marathi Sahitya Sammelan, which happened in Chiplun, and I enjoyed that. So I was like, it must be like, it's a different thing and it's an international exposure. Why not? So I applied there. As it is, I was applying for a job. I had time in my hand till the time I don't have an interview. And even if I get a job, I was like, I'll ask them some time off before I join to volunteer here. Then I volunteered at 2013 Literature Festival. And that's how, when I did that, the second day itself or the third day, it was for 5 days that time. So by the end of it, I realized this is the office where I want to go. I don't know whether they'll have a job for me. I had no idea what kind of job I'll do there. And will I be overqualified? Which I was pretty sure probably. And so I said, okay, I'll at least, till the time I don't get a job, I'll ask them if they need any volunteer or if they have some small job or something like that. So that's how I entered in the literature field.
Great.
Then I started chasing them. And they said, okay, we don't have a full-time paid position, but it's 2 days in a week. You have to come for 3 hours in the morning and you have to volunteer. There was no payment attached to it. I said, okay, because I'm looking for a job. If I get a job, I cannot do that. But if I don't, then I'll come. I started doing that, and the first thing was my responsibility was to attend phone calls and divert them to the concerned person and do miscellaneous jobs. So that's how I started working there. So that's how I entered in the literature field.
That's a wonderful entry.
Absolutely.
So, how we would like to know, how is an international literature festival organized?
I have not attended many festivals, so I can just talk about the LitFest, which I was been a part of for almost 4 to 5 years. So we start preparations. The festival happens every year. It used to happen in March, but now because of the Ramadan, every day comes 10 days prior. So now this year in 2021, it is happening in the last week of January and the first 2 weeks of February. So immediately after this festival ends, the preparation for the next year starts.
Okay.
We start sending invitation letters to authors. The theme is decided. And based on that theme, the authors are shortlisted. But sometimes if they are big names, you have to contact them like 2 years or 3 years even in advance.
Okay.
Because their dates are booked. For example, David Williams. So when he was coming, and then these authors, they have their own stardom attached to it. And if they're children author, definitely. So you have to contact them well in advance. And once, as and when we start receiving confirmations from them, then we think about how to plan their sessions.
Okay.
So the Literature Festival has a programming department which takes care of it.
Okay.
I was a part of the operations mainly because absolutely had no background from the literature field. So programming, communications were out of my scope. And the only thing I could think about is operations. So the programming team then starts plotting these sessions. They contact them, they ask, then there are some workshops, there are some panel discussions, some solo sessions, individual sessions. So they start plotting it in everything.
Okay.
And then the communication takes place where the launch of the festival. So the launch happens around October.
Okay.
So October, once the launch happens, then the operation team comes into a picture, bring all those dreams to reality. Then we have to contact the venue. I mean, we simultaneously start. We don't wait for every department to finish their work. We have to start simultaneously to contact the venue. You have to negotiate a fair price. In our case, we were fortunate that the venue was sponsoring us. So, you don't have to worry about it. So, but at the same time, we also had events in desert, where it was a poetry night, specifically only poetry night. And I must tell you that it was a mesmerizing experience when it's just stars around, there's no light pollution, and you just listen to different poetry from different languages. And that time I realized that to understand the poetry, you don't really need to understand the language. The way it is delivered, you still can understand it.
Great.
So that's how it starts. And based on the theme, then the rest of the authors are chosen. You have to plan. So then you have to plan for their traveling schedule. You need to plan for their accommodation. Are they coming with any kids, or they have anyone accompanying them? So you need to book rooms accordingly. And once they come here, we make sure that when a spouse or when the author is doing his or her session, the family is not staying in the hotel. We give them a chance that we will assist, and our cultural and social team will take care of it, that they can show you around the city. We give them a couple of options. Where do you want to go? And also authors have that option to go and explore. So it's hospitality Dubai style. where author gets like accommodation. The food is taken care by the festival. The sightseeing is run by the festival. So sometimes authors say that we just come here. We feel like we are on a vacation and just casually talking to people because they're at leisure. They don't have to worry about anything.
Correct.
They just have to ask for it.
That's wonderful. So which major languages are included here? So like Asian or European?
No, for the literature festival where I worked, we mainly focused on English and Arabic.
Okay.
But there are certain book fairs happen in Dubai, in UAE. So like Sharjah Book Fair. So they have certain sessions in Malayalam and other Asian like Indian languages.
Okay.
So at the Lit Fest, once we had a Chinese author, so we provide a simultaneous translation even for Arabic and English. If it's a famous author, we try and provide for a simultaneous translation.
Okay.
So even if you don't know the language, you can still go and attend the session.
That's really a great service because otherwise people will be deprived of the literature.
Absolutely. And that gives an opportunity for you to know the author. Correct. For you to know the book. And it's always good, I think, that the simultaneous translations and our translators are fairly doing the good job. So we just have to tell them, we give them details about the sessions in advance, and it's a live translation. So, they don't have the script. They just have to, like we talk, they have to immediately translate it.
What a challenging job.
Wow. Definitely. As a translator, now I understand.
Yes. True. And Prachiti, you have been the coordinator of Grantha Tumcha Dwari. Or Dari,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's an initiative of Kusumagraj Pratishthan, Nasik, right?
Yes.
I think Mr. Vinayak Ranade.
Yes. So it's his brainchild.
It is brainchild, yes. And you have been the coordinator. So how is the experience? Already a wonderful initiative, and you are coordinating. So how does it feel?
I have no words. How does it feel? Because till when I started, once I picked up my LLB, I did my LLB, MBA. I stopped reading Marathi books because of the profession.
Yes.
Then with the literature festival, there was no question of me reading Marathi books.
Right.
First of all, the accessibility was a bigger question because you cannot just keep carrying books from India in your limited luggage. So in 2016, I met somebody who started this initiative in Dubai. So I asked him that I would like to read Marathi books. That time I had no intentions to be a coordinator or to get involved. My simple intention was to read. And every journey just started with simply I want to read. Everything started with simply I want to read. So he gave me a couple of phone numbers and he said, you can contact them. Coincidentally, I contacted one of the lady, and she's a daughter of late Vibha Deshpande, who did Marathi Natyakosh. So I contacted her and I said, I want to read books, but she was staying in one part of Dubai and I was staying in another. So she gave me a couple of other numbers. And while interacting with each other, she said, we are planning to organize one author visit. We are planning to bring in one Marathi author here for Marathi people in the UAE. I said, fair enough. I work with the literature festival, and I work in operations. So what else do you want? And whatever you need help, let me know. So when I joined that initiative, I was not even a reader that time because simply I couldn't, with the LitFest work, I couldn't find time to go to another coordinator's place, get books and everything. So then I went there, and that was the first year any Marathi author came here, and we had Praveen Davne.
Oh, okay.
So it was we hired one auditorium in Sharjah, and we had around 300 people attending that event, which was a big success. For just 3 hours, you bring in some author,
right?
And of course, thanks to all the sponsors, because Grantha Tumcha Dari is a free initiative. So the basic concept of this is, as you mentioned, Vinayak Ranade. So he started this initiative when he realized that, not everybody can go to the library and read, but people want to read. So how you can do that? Instead of people going to the books, what if books go to people? So he started this initiative where each coordinator in India, each coordinator gets a bag of 100 books.
Okay.
And those bags are, and then you can have people from your community, from nearby buildings and societies coming to your place, taking those books. Everything is free of charge. Nothing is charged. So every 3 months, the bags are rotated. So this initiative started in the UAE in 2009.
Okay.
In 2009, first 8 bags came in. And these 8 bags with these different, Dr. Sandeep Kadve was the one who initiated that. And then from there, so each bag holder is called as a coordinator.
Okay.
So it is the responsibility of that coordinator to take care of those. For UAE, they have 25 books.
Okay.
Because again, the transport and the weight is an issue. So for out of India, they have bag of 25 books.
Okay.
So those 25 bags are rotated every 3 months. And as the number of coordinators increase, the number of bags increase and number of books increase. So from 2009, when it started, it was 8 books, 8 bags. Now we have almost 30 bags.
Oh,
And
that's
now,
great.
And earlier that was limited to only to Dubai. But now we have presence in most of the Emirates.
Okay.
So 30 bags. And then we started, when I knew about the initiative after the 2016 Praveen Davne session, then we decided that we will sponsor the bag.
Okay.
That's how they go, because otherwise the Pratishthan, how will they get books?
Yes.
It's not, so they accept donations for books.
Okay.
So we sponsored one bag, and then I became a coordinator. Initially, it was difficult even for me to go and tell to any Marathi family, because in my building where I was staying, there was hardly any Marathi family. But I used to read. I had my in-laws visiting that time, so they enjoyed. And then I gradually got involved with them. And then we had, in 2019, we had Aruna Tai as our guest, Aruna Tai Dhere. So we invited her here, and we had sessions of hers. Then this year, due to lockdown, we couldn't invite anybody. So we had an online session with Achyut Godbole.
Okay, great.
So that way, at least people staying here are getting a chance to interact with Marathi authors.
Yes.
They are getting Marathi books to read. And it's not only limited to adults, but we have kids' book.
Okay.
So parents are making sure that kids are reading Marathi books. And we are soon planning to bring in, bridge the gap between children and adults. So we are trying to bring in young adult section as well.
That will be helpful. Yes.
Yes, but that has to be a mixed language. It cannot only be in Marathi, because of course, once kids grow up, and especially in international scenario, they lose touch with the language. So it has to be a mixed one.
Well said. I think this is a very important point, that it has to be a mixed language.
I agree that everybody should understand and speak their mother tongue. But at the same time, when you go internationally, we need to understand that English is the majorly spoken language wherever they go. So you cannot just take them and you cannot just force your mother tongue upon them when they have hardly any people speaking Marathi around them.
Yes.
And it's just the family. And over the period, I realized that parents also lack interest in interacting in their mother tongue. Sometimes it just, you are looked down upon, has one undercurrent to it.
Yes.
And the other is because you have nobody else and you mainly interact in English, it automatically you start interacting in English.
Okay. Very important point. Yes.
Thank you.
So I think you think it is the need of the hour for today's multicultural society to spread the love for reading in whichever language, be it your mother tongue or any other language, right?
I say that, irrespective of language, keep reading.
Okay.
It doesn't matter in which language you are reading. It matters that you are reading and what you are reading.
As long as you read, right.
As long as you read. Nowadays, parents complain that kids are not reading. But reading is not only words. Medium had changed.
Yes.
They watch OTT platforms.
Yes.
They watch YouTube videos. So what are they doing? The reading material, the medium had changed. But has reading stopped? No. So instead of this is for the next generation. Yes, our generation still loves to read. We still love to have a book in our hand and read. Gradually, our generation is shifting towards ebook, but next generation is already looking for ebooks.
Yes.
I mean, this soon the bookcase behind me soon gonna be a thing of past.
Yes.
Because you'll just have a Kindle and have probably thousands of books in there.
Correct.
And you don't need storage space. But for kids, if we are talking about the inculcating habit of reading in the next generation, the most important thing is parents need to take that initiative.
Okay.
Kids will not listen to you, they'll observe you is the most important thing. They are like sponge. They'll absorb everything what is happening around them. So if they see that parents are coming home and they're sitting in front of a TV or they're continuously on their mobile talking to somebody, they'll go that way. But if they see that parents are reading, or if parents are making an effort that, okay, every day half an hour, we'll sit together and we'll read. So you can read children's stories to them. Depending on the age, there's so much literature available everywhere.
Right.
That you can choose absolute apt literature for them. Stories suitable for their age. And sometimes, instead of parent teaching something, if it's through a story, kids like that.
Yes.
So instead of saying raise your voice against bullying, you can read some books which handle this issue, and kids will learn from it.
So rightly said. Yes.
So language doesn't matter, just read. Medium, rather I'll say, instead of language now I'll change to medium doesn't matter, just read.
Well said. Yes. Then you went on to becoming a freelance translator, right? For English and Marathi languages.
Yes. So it was again an accidental discovery. While I was working in a lit fest, one of my friends gifted me a book written by Indian author, and Lalita Iyer is her name. So the book called The Boy Who Swallowed a Nail.
Okay.
So it is her childhood memoir. And she believes that every family has stories to tell.
Okay.
So these are her childhood funny stories which she picked up. It's a small book, 9 short stories with illustration. And when one of my friends gifted it, I was going through the book. And while reading those stories, automatically what I could think about was those stories were replaying in Marathi in my head.
Okay.
And I realized, no, this needs to be then translated because it never happened before. If I'm reading in English, I'll think in English only.
Right.
So it never happened before. So I asked my friend, will you mind asking your friend if this book is translated in Marathi? If not, I have never done translations before. I have no idea about the technical terms of translations. I absolutely just as a reader. But I want to bring this book in Marathi. I had no commercial interest behind it, but I want to see if I can do it. And being with the literature field, I had fair idea that, okay, I need to get first the author's permission. I need to, pay her royalty or for her intellectual property and everything. So I asked my friend. So she said, I'll do one thing. I'll connect you with her over the email and you can take it forward. I said, okay. We interacted and she said, no, but I would love this book to reach in different languages. I said, then I'm interested. I have never done. Since from the beginning, I was very clear about it that I have no experience in translation, which is the truth. I'm just telling you a meaning in my language, like in English, if I'm talking to my friends in the literature festival and telling meaning of something from Marathi to English does not mean a translation. It just, you casually explain them the meaning.
Right.
So I started working on it. I sent her one sample. I said, I'll do one story and I'll send it to you. See if you like it. And then only we'll go forward. If you think that I cannot do a good job to it, we'll stop. And no hard feelings. Because, of course, I had an idea that without any knowledge, there will be some hindrances to it. So I translated, she agreed, and she said, we can do this. Then I translated remaining stories.
Okay.
But somehow with my occupation with the Lit Fest and my schedule, it took a long time, like almost 2 years just to translate those 9 stories. But during those 2 years, I learned a lot about translation.
Okay.
Like, the main important different is the stories are from her. She's a Tamilian. So the stories has got some connotations with that language. So
Yes.
when I translate that, I need to remember that I'm translating in Marathi. And people in Marathi will not understand those connotations because they don't know those context.
Right.
So one thing is that. Other thing is, at the same time, I need to remember that Marathi people should like the narration style. It cannot be from English directly to Marathi and should not sound like a literal translation word to word.
Correct.
So these things I learned on the go, and then I published that book in 2019 as a translation. It's available on Kindle as an e-copy and available in hard copy as well.
Okay. Great. So you are into literary translations, and do you also do technical translations like legal or medical also?
No, because when I say no to legal translations, people ask me a question because you have a law background. But I have been out of the law field for a long time. And now with the changing terms and terminologies and things, I do not want to take any chance, because sometimes the legal translation, what you do, is used in court as an official translated document. And I do not want to play with that.
Okay.
Because if there is any mistake, that poor person will be in trouble.
Oh, yes.
So I don't do much technical, and same goes with the medical, because I'm not aware with medical terminologies in Marathi.
Okay.
So I don't do that. But when I quit Lit Fest, I was wondering what to do next. And then I found a couple of websites where they give you a freelance translation work. So they send you a job, you have to finish it in a certain time and send it back.
Okay.
So sometimes it will be an entire text, or sometimes it's just a couple of lines or words. So they give you a word on the left hand side, you just have to translate that. So it's through a particular system which they use. So I did those miscellaneous jobs, was just to keep myself,
engaged.
Yeah. Had not much to do. So of course was writing book reviews simultaneously for couple of publishers and a couple of reviewer groups in India. So that was also keeping me busy.
Okay, that is great. So what is a book review? I mean, how do you look at it?
I'm not an expert in, I'll not say that I'm not an expert, but I started writing book reviews just out of curiosity.
Okay.
When I was in the literature festival, of course, everybody was passionate about reading books. And whenever you read a book, you passionately talk about it to your colleagues. And in 2000, I don't remember the year exactly, but definitely in this decade. So there was one of my friends, she said, we used to run a non-fiction book club.
Oh, okay.
Usually all the book clubs are for fiction. There was nothing focused specifically for non-fiction lovers.
Okay.
So we used to run a non-fiction book club. we used to meet like once in 15 days and discuss any non-fiction book.
Okay.
So the concept was everybody will read their own choice of book. Unlike mainly book clubs have like they read one book and everybody discuss. So we had everybody will read their own choice of book, but has to be a non-fiction.
Okay.
So one of my friends said that she was discussing this with some radio presenter. And she said, oh, we will be interested to invite you on our show and talk about a book.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first time ever on the radio as well. And we said, okay. She asked me if you will be comfortable. I said, see, as long as I have to speak, and because that I can do very well. And if it's about book, I can talk for hours. So the first book we did was One Dog at a Time. It was by author Pen Farthing. So he was in US military, and he started to say, when he was deputed in Afghanistan, he started saving these stray dogs, and so that's why the book is One Dog at a Time.
Okay.
So that author gave us a copy. And we did the radio show. That was first ever radio show in my life. I have never been to the radio station even before. So after that, when the literature festival has a radio show every Saturday for 3 hours.
Okay.
So first I went there as a technical person to handle the radio desk. Because the person who was taking care of that desk needs to travel to India. And he needed somebody to take care of that desk because it's every Saturday. So handling that desk, that was the first thing I was like on the opposite side. I enjoyed that. It's like 3 hours you are on your toes because of if anything goes wrong, it's directly going on live. If you play a wrong track, if you play a wrong advertisement, it's going on live directly.
Yes.
So did that, and then simultaneously started reviewing books on the radio. So being as a lead reviewer, being as a book champion. So the Litfest used to give me book copy and I used to read and talk about it. Sometimes it was like 2 or 3 people we will talk about it.
Okay.
And or sometimes we will have the author in the studio and we discuss the book with him. So that's how I started doing that. And during the same time, Gulf News, the major, one of the leading newspapers here, started online book club.
Oh, okay.
And they ask reviews from people. So they had their own criteria, what your review should cover, how many words and everything. So then as a try, I just sent one review and it got published.
Okay.
I was like, wow, it means I can write book reviews.
Oh, okay.
I mean, whatever I wrote was appreciated by my colleagues in the Litfest. So I said, okay, let me try. And then when I started writing it, I was writing just for my pleasure. But one fine day I was thinking, do book reviewers get paid? I mean, I was wondering, just out of curiosity, I Googled about it and then started through social media, contacted a couple of reviewers in India. So initially my condition was I'll do only non-fiction book reviews because that's what I was reading.
Correct.
And that's what my favorite genre is. So I approached a couple of them and I met one reviewer, I mean, one group. So she said that we pay.
Oh, okay.
We give you a copy of the book and we pay you.
Ah, okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm happy to write. But they had their strict criteria. So unless you don't fulfill that criteria, they'll ask to rewrite the review. So you have to be ready for that. And then they'll pay you at the end of the review.
Okay.
So I started for them. Then I started writing for Reader's Cosmos. Then I wrote for Half Baked Beans. I wrote reviews here in Gulf News, and on my blog I was writing reviews. And that's how I started writing reviews. And I was even on the panel of Konark Literature Festival as a book reviewer.
Okay, great.
So for the books which they chose, they needed reviewers to give an honest feedback about it. So whether they'll invite those authors to the festival or not depends on it. So I did that and everything was from Dubai. Nothing.
That's wonderful.
So everything
Yeah.
is online.
Mhm.
So I've been on the panel of that, and I still do love writing book reviews.
That's wonderful. And you have co-authored a book, right, about gardening in the Arabian Peninsula.
Yes,
So,
I did.
so how was that experience?
That was my rather before I translated the book. This was the book which has been published here in the UAE. So again, all the co-authors we met at the Lit Fest.
Okay.
Everything what has happened in the literature field with me has got some or the other connection with the Lit Fest here. So we met and we were talking about, plants and their medicinal values and how they are important. And you have everything in your kitchen has got some or the other medicinal or health benefit to it. So my friend, the lead author, Laura, so she was here and she was doing organic gardening.
Okay.
And it's not that even from the soil till pesticides, everything was organic.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of effort most of the time because obviously plants get their nutrients from the soil. So if you add chemicals to your soil, what that produce cannot be organic.
Correct.
If you have some people around your farm using fertilizers and you're not using it, still the underneath water will transfer that chemical to your field. So it's not organic. So you need to have the concept of organic is very different. And she was doing that. And she said, then why don't we start thinking about a book? Me being me, never say never. I said, okay, let's do that. That time had no idea that how do you write a book?
Okay.
How do you go and find a publisher? What do you do exactly? So we said, okay, one step at a time. First, let's gather what we have. So we started gathering information. Then we realized we need illustrators. So then, so this book, this book has been co-authored by 4 people. Okay. Laura is one of them. Sherida is the illustrator who did the cover of the book and couple of coloring pages in the book. Okay. And rest of the illustrations done by Leilani. So they both are artists. They both are good in their field. And they just had passion. Again, for the gardening and for, good, sustainable, organic food. So we did that. And that project almost took like 5 years because we all were working. Yes. Nobody had time to focus fully on the book. So as and when we get time, we used to work on it. Okay. So that's first, when we gathered information, we realized that we can probably publish 3 or 4 books out of this information. Oh, okay. So did you? No. No. Okay. So then we realized that, okay, let's do one thing. Let's tell people. Usually people have this kind of misconception that in desert, you cannot grow much food. So we said, okay, let's tell them that what you can grow here. Oh, okay. Then once we decided the focus of the book, it was easy for us to shortlist what we want to put in the book. Correct. And once we know what to put in, automatically came in how to put in. Yes. So we decided even to choose a paper which is environment friendly, which is acid free. So even if you throw that paper in the soil, it will not change the soil composition. Okay. Because even if we say that the paper is recyclable, the ink on the paper has got some chemical components which can change the soil's nutrition balance. So we were adamant that we'll use a acid-free paper. It has to be a recycled paper, and the ink has to be acid-free. Of course, even the cover of the book is a cardboard, kappa board. So if you throw it in the soil, the entire book, if you bury in the soil, it will decompose without changing the soil compositions. Oh, wow. Okay. So that was our intention. And of course, that cost us a huge amount of money. And the cost of the book went up because of that. But we were like, whatever we give the best, or we don't.
Okay.
But then we found a publisher. She was very happy with this concept that you are telling people what you can grow in the UAE. And so we launched that book.
Great. You are also associated with Sahayogi now.
Yes, but before that, I'll go back to my book reviews, because that's how I joined. I became a part of Sahayogi.
Okay.
So I had this concept of writing book reviews, and I realized in Marathi there's nothing like that. First of all, Marathi mainly not every book is available on Amazon. Ebooks are like hardly few ebooks are there. So I had this concept that why something like this we cannot have in Marathi. And during the lockdown, I was doing some courses for editing and proofreading through one of the Sahayogi's sister concerns, Sajag.
Okay.
So it's you can say that Sajag is under the Sahayogi. So while I was doing that, I discussed this concept with the lady running Sajag, and she said, "Why don't you speak to the person who runs Sahayogi?"
Okay.
So Yogesh Nandurkar runs Sahayogi. So I pitched it to him.
Okay.
I said, "This is the concept I have, and we don't have similar concept." So he said, "Why don't you start something like this?" And I was stunned by it. I was like, I have a concept, and I've never thought that I want to start something like this sitting out of India. So he said, "Yeah, but then you can still review ebooks."
Right.
I said, "Absolutely."
Yes.
And then the concept of IAM started.
Okay.
So IAM initially when it started, it was only for Marathi book reviews and specifically restricted to ebooks.
Okay.
So we did a couple of books first, and we realized we can expand this service to other languages. So now IAM reviews books in English, Hindi, as well as soon we are going to start it in Arabic.
That's wonderful. Because so this Arabic book reviews will be published in English, right?
Arabic book review will be published in Arabic, English, and Marathi. So people from these languages will know that this kind of a book is in published in Arabic.
Yes.
And which will help in translation rights.
Correct. Otherwise, how will people know about other literatures?
Exactly. And if you see that, many books, and the same will happen with Marathi books, because if you see, many books are translated from English to Marathi.
Yes.
But from Marathi to English, there are very few books which are translated.
Correct.
And I'm sure if we have, people must take this as a challenge, and they should look forward to this.
Yes.
Because if I exactly give you a data which I heard, like this probably it was in a conference, translation conference. So as less as 3% books are translated from from Indian languages to English.
Oh.
So you see, there is a 97% scope for everybody else. So through this, I'll tell translators out there that go ahead.
Join the
bandwagon
movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great.
And it's a time that, now with the ebooks, it's easy to reach to reader. Because if you translate a book, you do an ebook, you don't have any boundary.
Correct.
No global, any global reader can read it.
Yes. So, that is true. So this online platform and technology, is helping us already.
Indeed. I'm surprised at why it took Corona for any publisher to understand that they need to be on the e-platform.
Yes. That's
even
true.
before that, if you want to make others read your book, a physical copy you can market it to, unless you have an international distribution channel, And second thing is, if it's a regional languages,
Yes.
you can probably market maximum to the state.
Yes. Yes.
But if you translate a book and if you do an ebook, first of all, if it's an ebook, then you can, let's take an example of a Marathi ebook. If you do a Marathi ebook, Marathi people across the globe can read it. It's not only limited to the state.
Yes.
And
Totally.
and I mean, in my personal opinion, book buying is an impulsive decision. If I read about a book, I like a book, I want it now.
Yes.
It will not happen that I'm staying in Dubai, so I'll write it down that this book I'll buy when I go to India. And then I make sure when I go to India, I remember to buy that book. I go to bookstore and buy it.
Correct.
And then after that is a challenge to bring them back to UAE because you have weight constraints.
Yes.
But if it's an ebook, I don't have to worry about it.
Correct.
The moment I think that I need to buy a book, I just go online and purchase it.
It is so simple now. Yes.
It's so simple. You don't even need a Kindle. You can just download the Kindle app on any of your Android or Apple devices and read.
Yes. Wonderful.
So I'll say that, and if it's a translated literature, one way is to let other people know about your culture.
Yes.
If it again depends what you choose books like.
Correct.
So that's how I started this concept of I Am. So we did a couple of books. Recently, we did 6 ebooks of Jagannath Kunte. So his ebooks were already present in Marathi for a long time. It has a good followers in Marathi.
Yes.
Almost 100,000 people must have read all his books.
Yes.
So we through Sahayogi created those books, and I Am did reviews for them.
Okay.
So
that's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when after this, so I'm coming back to your question about literary consultant and Sahayogi. So while doing this, I started working as a literary consultant and started also I started doing some miscellaneous jobs for Sahayogi for editing, proofreading, and now been a part of the team. And this Corona has been I know everybody had suffered through it, and we all have bad experiences. Either we couldn't go meet our parents, we suffered losses of our near and dear ones. But I'll say that if you look at the positive side of it, it explored opportunities for many people.
Yes. Yes. Right.
Especially, if you, I don't know, like for the translators, I don't know whether you heard about this or not, but doctors, when they had patients talking different languages, they went online and asked help from people speaking that language.
Yes.
So through Zoom, they can interact with the patient and, can help them.
That's right.
So that was never thought about.
Yeah.
So it opened up different opportunities. And for me, this entire world of I Am and Sahayogi and this journey with Sahayogi has started during the lockdown. I mean, I'm yet to meet the team personally.
Okay.
So looking forward to that. But
it's all online. Yeah.
Everything is online. So
great.
But that's what I tell everybody, that through this, there is no boundary.
Yes.
The Corona has probably taught every one of us that no global boundary can stop us.
Yes. Yes, that's right. So, which future projects do you have in mind?
There are certain projects in pipeline. So, but I'll disclose them once they reach to that phase. Currently, they are in the ideation phase.
Okay, I wish you all the best for that.
Thank you so much. But right now, I mean, as I always said, I've never said no to any opportunity. So I always look forward and to look for any opportunity which comes my way.
Okay.
And I believe that unless you try it, you will not know that you will fail.
Yes.
If you don't try, 100% you will fail. But if you try, 50% chances of success are there.
And we should take that chance.
Yeah,
right?
50% is a fairly good amount. Even doctors probably will go for an operation if they have 50% chance.
Yes, certainly.
So yes, I'm looking forward to working in this field and different projects.
Great. So if you would want to change anything in this language industry, what would that be?
Oh, it's a difficult question. Probably, we need to see the global standards. We need to understand the future and the need and move forward with it. Instead of looking at somebody else working in this field as a competitor, look at them as your partner. See what best you can do. There's so much to do. And, unfortunately, it has become a circle that you don't get paid because you don't get a quality job. And because quality job is not done, you don't get paid well. So somewhere this vicious circle has to break.
Has to end. Yes.
So how it can break? If I'm asking a price, I'm asking a price increase for whatever work I do, editing, reading, translation, transcreation, anything. I need to improve my quality first. Look at it. You go to a market, you're willing to pay a little extra for a better quality. So why not in the literature field?
Correct.
Give them the quality. Give them a sample of your quality work, and then you have a right to ask for a better price. It will take time for people to understand and change the mentality to pay you a better price. But because it will take time, we cannot stop our efforts.
Yes.
If we were a staff, we would have been still in the Stone Age.
Well
we need to keep improving and giving a better quality.
Yes. We have to upgrade and update ourselves.
Yes. Right. And look at it, everybody, as your collaborations, instead of looking at them as a competitor. As I'm a translator, I meet another translator. She may have or he may have another expertise better than me. So why I should think that person will compete me? There's no reason. There's enough in the market for everybody. Only lacking is quality.
True. Let us improve on that.
Yes, certainly. We can definitely.
Yes. So I wish you all the best for your future plans.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful session with you, talking about literature, languages, and certainly we will meet again to discuss your future plans.
Surely, once I have anything to disclose, I'll let you know. I'm glad that you invited me and gave me an opportunity to put forward my views.
Pleasure.
And my passion for reading and literature.
Thank you.